We just unveiled the helmet here on the show, and I see you in the brown out head to toe. It's a menacing look. What do you make of the new gear, and what do you make of the new helmet here?
I love it, man. It's definitely different. It stands out. The all brown just I love the way the look of it and everything about it, man. And I'm excited to get to play in it.
That's look good, play good, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and when you said the word you used off air, though, you said it was tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a tone setter. The alpha dogs, that's what they're calling it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the key to it was head to toe.
Yep, had to be.
No white. I mean, just solid all the way through.
Yeah, I got to be all brown. The all brown, what I think makes the helmet really pops for real.
And it's a good dark brown. All right, how was your summer?
It's been good. It's been good. Grinding, working hard, and preparing for the season.
How are you able to? Because there's a lot, and it's on. We're practicing this afternoon, and away we go. And this goes until if you reach the ultimate prize all the way into February. How do you balance making sure you stay right physically with also, in a summer like this one, getting a mental break and being able to unplug a little bit? Because you need that part too.
Yeah, the biggest thing is during the offseason is having structure. Keep the main thing. You want to have times away from football, but also you got to know what your main goal is to prepare yourself for the season during the offseason. So that's the biggest thing. I just, eliminate all distraction, schedule my workouts and schedule the time that I have for my family or for the time I want to chill and lay low and just not do anything. So that's the biggest thing, is having a schedule and make sure, I still get that work in.
When you look back at last year, obviously career high 90 catches, 1,229 yards, career high, go to the Pro Bowl, all of it. What did you like about what you did that year, and what did you nitpick to say, I still want to get higher, do better, that you want to do it, kind of work on this offseason coming into this season?
Yeah, what I want to work on, I want to minimize those drops, less drops. That's one of the biggest things that I feel I need to work on. Other than that, I just want to be better than I was last year. I'm going to just keep working and keep getting open for the quarterbacks, and focus on the little details when it comes to that.
Yeah, one of those little details, it's a big one, is leadership, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you think about the room that you came into last year versus the room you're in now. You're the unquestioned leader in that room, and one of the leaders on that offense. Is that something you thought about this offseason, and how will you change in terms of your persona, if at all, based on what I think would be most of the organization look at you and go, yeah, that's one of our leaders?
Yeah, the biggest thing, I'm going to just keep doing me. I'm more of a guy that leads by example, by going out there, practicing hard each and every day. I feel like once guys see that, they probably respect you more than just talking about it and raising your, not necessarily raising your voice, but like saying something. You can't be a leader and just say do this and do that and look at this and look at that without going out there and putting in the work. So my biggest thing is just really just focus on putting in the work, and everybody follows from there.
When you have a situation like the Browns have right now, whereas it appears to be a 4-quarterback competition to be the starter. Obviously, you've got some guys who started in the league. Joe Flacco's been around for a long time. I'm sure a guy you used to watch play in the league with the Baltimore Ravens. Kenny Pickett, Dylan, Shador. As a receiver, getting on that same page, being able to have them throw the ball before you're out of your breaks, all of that. That takes time, that takes reps. How are you guys kind of balancing, from your room's perspective, the fact that, at least for a little while, it probably isn't going to be just one guy all the time getting all the reps?
I'm thinking the biggest I feel like really, you can't really focus too much on what quarterback is back there, and even though it's good to have consistent play with the quarterback that you're gonna be out there on Sunday with, but you just focus on your job, man, and just run routes how you know how to run routes, and just get open how you usually get open, and eventually the ball gonna come to you, and you're gonna make the play that you need to make as long as you do your job correctly.
Real quick, did last year kind of, and I know in Denver you had some times where it was changing a lot, but last year you had multiple quarterbacks throwing you ball. Does that kind of make this seem less daunting than it would have if you were somebody that had played with just one guy year after year? Yeah,
that pretty sums up my whole career, man.
It does.
I've been playing with different quarterbacks since I got into the league, so there's nothing new for me. Like I said, I'm just going to still be out there and just doing what I do best, and that's what get open to make the job for whoever out there.
You're always open.
Quarterback, always open.
Exactly.
Is there a common thread in the quarterback competitions that you've been a part of as a receiver? And of course, you had a front row seat to it being a receiver. Is there a common thread in terms? One thing you hear coaches say a lot is like you can't fool the room. that the room will tell you who the quarterback is, that type of stuff. Is there any things, any commonalities in your experience when it comes to a quarterback competition?
As far as you get reps with certain quarterbacks, but at the end of the day, you still won't know who's the starting quarterback until that very first game who leads us off. But it's hard really to tell. I just like I said, do my part and just see where it goes from there.
Is there a difference? Have you seen guys who at certain times there's practice players who thrive there, but then games maybe the lights are a little bit too bright, and this is at all sorts of levels, and I'm not suggesting any of our guys are, but just you got two joint practices set. You've got 3 preseason games, and obviously you probably won't play deep into any of them, but nevertheless, every single rep for those guys is going to be watched by everybody, you guys, everybody. Like it's a pretty wild thing to think about, the fact you have 4 quarterbacks down there who all of them feel like maybe they could do it, and every single rep is going to matter.
That's what I'm kind of glad at, thankful for, because we got 4 great quarterbacks that have been doing a tremendous job throughout the offseason and throughout OTAs that really been putting in the work and they've been competing against each other, to bring out the best out of one another, and they just been doing a great job of that, and that's all you can ask for. There's nobody that's being low or looking at the depth chart or like feeling sorry for themselves. Everybody just coming out there to compete and work to get better.
Speaking of competition, you get great competition in practice when you think about Denzel Ward, and you had that obviously in Denver as well with PS2. How much does that help you, and how much do you help them in that iron sharpening iron? How much is that fun, those one-on-ones, and seeing how that kind of plays out?
Yeah, it's always fun. Like I say, you face those guys in practice each and every day, so what makes the game a lot more easier.
Yep.
Going against guys like Patrick Surtain, Denzel Ward, those guys are the top of the game. You're not going to face nothing better than that. So, being able to have those 2 guys in practice each and every day just going to make the games a lot more simpler and a lot less difficult. So, I enjoy having them on my squad.
Now that you've had a little time for it, you've done some traveling. I know you went to Paris, had a great time there. After that Denver game, we didn't win the game. So that was, and you had said that was all that mattered. But now that season is over, it is washed. Could you have imagined a return quite that good to Denver? Because I know that had to be somewhat personal for you to go in there and put that game on national television and just go bonkers.
Yeah, it do mean a lot, just being able to have one of those biggest games I had ever in my career against my former team. That meant a lot to me. It would have been better with the win, of course, but
235 yards though is nothing to sneeze at. It's nothing to sneeze at.
Of course, I'm just thankful to Coach Stefanski, and, just put him in the right position to be able to perform the way I did. And Jameis and the offense is doing a great job of just executing the plays for me to do my job. So, yeah, I'm just
You may have retired a cornerback in that game.
Yeah, that's my boy, too. We went to Alabama with each other, so I'm like, damn, man. I ain't mean to do you like that, but I had to.
But you had to. I had no choice.
I had to. Yeah.
You kind of get you feel it at time. Maybe you're just scratching the surface now on what you're capable of, that this is kind of what you envisioned yourself to be as a pro.
Yeah, I knew the type of player I was since day one just entering the league. I just needed that opportunity to be really showcase that consistency. The beginning of my career dealt with some injury, dealt with different quarterbacks, different offensive coordinators, and now that I'm here, now that could finally showcase what I'm about, it's a great feeling. And just having the season that I had last year really just boost my confidence in knowing like exactly what the year going to be this year, and knowing how I'm being used, knowing that I'm going to be that number 1 guy to be able to perform like the number 1 should be able to perform, knowing that I'm going to get the ball. It's a big difference going into the season knowing that you're that guy to get the ball.
Here's one thing I'm going to just throw out, because I talked about this going into last year. If you look at yards per target, that's something I like to look at when I really evaluate wide receivers. Your yards per target last year was right where your career yards per target is. You got 145 targets last year. You just got the opportunity to be great. And when you're 8.5 above, you're an elite wide receiver. It's opportunity. You needed opportunity. You got it. And then you said, this is what I can do. Yeah. And that's got to be nice, because one of the things that I think people fail or forget sometimes when they're looking at wide receivers. They just look at numbers. You can be open. Okay, the play call's there. You can be open, number one. Does the quarterback see you? Does he see you and make an accurate throw? Oh, yeah. Is he protected? You could roast a guy, but if he's on the ground, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But when it all comes together and then you do get those opportunities, that's when you get a chance to show what you're capable of, and I'm looking forward to more of that. 145 targets last year. Give me 170. 10 a game. 10 a game for Jared Jeudy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
10 a game. I'll see if I can talk to Tommy and Kevin. Be like, let's just have 10 a game. It's an easy rule. Yeah, easy rule.
We'll get you out of here on this one, buddy. One of the things we've heard consistent from players, coaches, everything is that it's really critical this year to set the tone right away about the work that's going to get put in here in the next few weeks. It's a ramp-up practice, but today at 425, how is that on your mind to set the tone about what the 2025 Cleveland Browns are all about?
Yeah, I mean, every time I'm out there at practice, I'm out there to set the tone and show everybody what I'm capable of and what this season is going to be like. Being out there at practice, you got to compete. You got to bring your best every day. And that's what I'm about, and that's what I'm going to do.
It's great seeing you, buddy.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Stay healthy.
Yeah,
Look
let's
forward
go.
to a big season out of you, the great Jerry Jeudy, in studio with us.